So, without further ado, welcome. My name is WriterMaven. I am the host of the Wrestling Receipts podcast. I cover all things Judgment Day, Dom, Liv, Raquel, JD, Finn, possibly Roxanne, and poor Carlito. Today was Night of Champions, coming to us live up during the day. Um, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about regarding this Night of Champions. I have my opinions on like the rest of the card, but I'm going to focus specifically, of course, on Judgment Day Impact because there was just to start off with. I know I posted that video about Raquel possibly winning with Roxanne's help, but if you followed me on the X, and I strongly encourage you that you do, like at WMaven WWE, you would have seen me say that I felt that Rhea was going to win, and I made it my prediction. And a lot of people were saying to me, but WriterMaven, Raquel could win, and then that's how, with Roxanne's help, and that's how Roxanne integrates herself with Roxanne. And I'm like, yeah, that would be the ideal um, path to go with the storyline. Roxanne helps Raquel, Raquel gets the win, and out of gratitude, and they're getting closer, Roxanne gets the tag belt. That would have been perfect. It would have fit with the current Judgment Day storyline. But we forgot about something. Rhea Ripley herself, and she totally pissed me off in her pre-show interview and her post-show interview. But even without all that, we knew, or we should have known, that Raquel would not get that pin on Rhea because God forbid and Lord forbid that Rhea get pinned, even when it makes sense for her to take a pin. She is booked so strongly that you know that she wasn't going to get pinned. If the match type was something other than a street fight where she wouldn't got pinned, like maybe if it was like on SmackDown last night where it was Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jackson at Last Woman Standing, maybe if Raquel and Rhea were in a Last Woman Standing match where she didn't have to get pinned, Raquel would have won that. But since somebody had to get pinned, it was going to be Raquel. And it just pretty much threw all of Judgment Day's current booking in the air because, for one, because things that should have went down didn't go down. And this is why the Judgment Day storyline as it is right now is FUBAR. I'm going to tell you why Judgment Day storyline is up in the air in a minute, or in a few minutes, because like I said, I have a lot to get to. But it just threw Judgment Day up in the air, in the blender, out the window, down the street. It's just to the point where it can go. Judgment Day, the current Judgment Day storyline can go in a number of different directions at this point. Because we thought they were going one way, but now when we had booking that was leading itself to a logical conclusion, it didn't do it. The logical conclusion would have been a Raquel win with Roxanne's help, but we didn't get that. Why? Because Rhea needed to get back into her winning ways and get back on track so she can get this title. Her title, mind you, and I'm going to get into that later too. And this is why you can tell I am pissed off at her pre and post interviews. The whole Night of Champions thing was just like, I don't know. It was a show. Things that should have happened didn't happen, and even with that, I still got 5 out of 6 out of my predictions. Damn you, Solo Sikoa, for having unlimited Samoans in your back pocket. Because if Jacob Fatu would have won, I would have went 6 for 6 for my predictions. But anywho, that's my cold open. Like, the Judgment Day storyline right now is like, it's pretty much the shrug emoji at this point. I don't know. And it's rare for me to come to y'all and say, like, what's going to happen next. I don't know. There's ways it can get salvaged. There's ways where it can go, and like I said, I'll get into that on where it can go and how I would want it to go, or how they could salvage it. But at this particular moment, the Judgment Day storyline, it's just a big shrug emoji. They had the most easiest layup known to mankind by having Raquel win, and they didn't do it. Rhea Ripley did not need a win. Why is it that Cody fucking Rhodes and Roman fucking Reigns can take a loss? Cody lost to Solo Sikoa. If y'all remember that last year, Cody fucking Rhodes lost to Solo Sikoa. And you mean to tell me that Rhea couldn't lose to Raquel? And then and you know you're gonna get the people. Well, Raquel doesn't get the big pop. Gee, I wonder why. How can she get a pop? How can she get any momentum if whenever time she runs up against Rhea, she gets run over? She looked better now, but that was like only for the first half of the match. How is any woman going to get over on Rhea, get over in the women's division, at least the Raw women's division, when you got Rhea there? It's a miracle that Liv and Dom escaped and with their pretty much with their cheers and reaction intact going up against Rhea and Damien. It's like a miracle. We see what happened with Finn. Finn is down in the gutter. He may not ever recover. But Liv and Dom, by some miracle, were able to recover. Raquel, well, we could have used this to rebuild her momentum, to establish herself away from Liv for that inevitable split, because we know it's coming sooner or later. Raquel couldn't even get that. But no, Rhea needs to get back on track. Why does Rhea need to get back on track? She only lost maybe what, 3 matches? WrestleMania. She lost Elimination Chamber. No, take that back. She lost WrestleMania. She lost Money in the Bank, and she lost a qualifier for Queen of the Ring. That's 3 losses. Whoop de fucking do. 3 losses. How many losses did we have to sit here and suffer with Dom? Dom went on the longest losing streak. How many losses did he have to go through? How many losses did Liv have to go through? How many times did we see Dom and Liv get squished? How many times did we see Dom and Liv get manhandled? 1-3-3. How many times did we see Judgment Day get 2v5? All the damn time. And yet, Rhea needs to get back on track. How about Karrion Kross today? Karrion Kross could have used a win. You're going to tell me Rhea needs to get back on track, but a person like Karrion Kross can't get back on track? Ivy now, women right now, who I really like. She loses all the time. She's always been set up as somebody that takes the pin. She can't get back on track? But no, Rhea with her 3 little losses, and she didn't even get pinned in those losses, has to get back on track. This company, I swear. Triple H is not beating the allegations, and that's all I gotta say. Because I mean, I'm gonna have to just go forward from this, but I'm just super annoyed and super pissed off because you cut Raquel off at the knees. She was starting to get some momentum. She had the momentum from Monday Night Raw, and then she was getting a little bit of momentum now with this match at Night of Champions. But then you just cut her off. And then poor Roxanne, I haven't even gotten into how poorly she was treated and some of what they put in for like the little info cards and stuff like that. I'm going to get into what they put in those info cards because that pissed me off too. Like, why are you treating Roxanne that way? Is Becky still pissed off that Roxanne called her out for bringing her into that feud that CM Punk was having with what was that? Drew McIntyre? Something like that. And I'll get into that, but yeah. So to recap my little cold opening here, the Judgment Day storyline is a pretty much big shrug emoji. I don't know where it's going to go. Raquel should have gotten the win. Roxanne should have been treated a whole lot better. And Rhea seriously is pissing me off. But let's get into Night of Champions with some pre-Night of Champions stuff. Pre-show. If y'all were on the X or on social media, we saw Liv at rehab. She had the bandages on her shoulder, so we know she's gone through the surgery. I knew that she had gotten the surgery, but I didn't want to broadcast that over like social media because 1, it's not my place to say. That's somebody's health. And 2, somebody apparently got that information from like her brother or something like that. And I'm that's too skeevy for me. I don't want to broadcast that. I'll just be happy with the knowledge that she had the surgery and she came out of it okay. And that's good. But this situation is different because somebody else posted that publicly, and she was happy to have that photo out. That's completely different. So she's had the surgery. She's going through rehab and apparently going through this with rehab with Shawn Michaels, who was at the same place as well. So best wishes and hopes to Liv Morgan. I hope she goes through rehab and she comes out stronger than ever. And may I point out that Michael Cole is that saying several months again, or many months, and that's pretty much an indication to me that Liv will be back sooner rather than later. And by that is that, yeah, Liv had to get the surgery and she won't be wrestling, but I think she's going to be back in a non-wrestling role sooner rather than later. Like pretty much as soon as she's cleared to like travel and be going around a little bit, kind of like how Dawn was just last year. She'll be back to Raw at the very least. So best wishes to Liv. Okay, so we get to Night of Champions, and I am watching the pre-show, and we get the Rhea and Raquel promo package. It addresses Rhea and Raquel's history somewhat. Rhea says everything is Raquel's fault, of course, and it intimates that Raquel is jealous of her skyrocketing, like her skyrocketing rise or whatever. Says Raquel is playing a victim. Like what? Post promo, the she was saying the women's world, the woman. Oh yeah, the post promo with that interviewer. I'm not sure. I don't think was that Jackie Redmond. I'm not sure who that was. I don't think it was Jackie. Post promo, the women's world title was referred to as Rhea's title. Like, how do you say that with your whole chest that that title is Rhea's when it's on Io Sky? Like, that's just disrespectful. And then Rhea comes out and says that comes at people saying that um she was going after people saying that she shouldn't go after the title and that if she's not chance she'll quit. Now, first of all, now they want to use Rhea and Raquel's history. And remember, and they didn't even use the full history of Rhea and Raquel. They just used that Raquel turned on her. Okay, yeah, that happened. But then y'all made up and it was water under the bridge. When she went back to NXT to have the belt show off with Bianca. And then after that, you attacked Raquel because Raquel and Liv had the audacity to stand up for Natty because Rhea was being a big ass bully. So they're not even using the full history. They're taking bits and pieces of the history to make it where Rhea's in the right. And like I said, this rewriting history is complete bullshit and it shouldn't be happening. People know, people remember. I remember what Rhea did. Yeah, Raquel did attack Rhea first, but then y'all forgave each other. And then when you turned heel and joined Judgment Day and was being a bully after you got the title and went after Natty, see, that's the part that people keep, or at least where some of the Rhea fans keep forgetting. Rhea was going after Natty. Liv and Raquel stood up because that's what faces do. And then they always want to say, well, not Raquel. They always want to say, well, Rhea said not for them not to get into her business. I'm like, do y'all know how pro wrestling works? Everybody's in everybody's business. It would be no pro wrestling. There would be no story if people stayed out of other people's business. Like, and that's not even an excuse. Like, why does Liv and Raquel not staying out of Rhea Ripley's business make it okay for Rhea to attack Liv and take her out of commission and attack Raquel and take her out of commission? That doesn't make no sense. Like, just because you do that, that means that Rhea could just act the way she wanted to act. It don't work like that. And she shouldn't be surprised that Liv and Raquel came back after her. She made it personal. She attacked them. And all they did was stick up for Natty. But nah, Liv and Raquel should have stayed out of Rhea's business. Bullshit. But like I said, they're picking and choosing history to make Rhea look better. I'm like, why can't you just say the full history? Like nobody, you don't see them going all the way back and showing the ultimatum when Rhea was threatening Dom and threatening to toss him out if he didn't win the North American Championship again. How come we're not seeing that again? How come we don't see the history of Rhea pretty much saying that Dom can't go after his own dad again when he wanted to? And like you can't rewrite the history. It's like how they wanted to make Dom big headed or make Dom to be out selfish when we've seen 3 years of Dom being pretty much the most selfless Judgment Day character or Judgment Day member in all these years. Like now you can't say that Dom is being selfish and being big headed when he's been presented as anything but. Like you can't change the narrative. We remember stuff. This is why I keep saying that this is the biggest problem with Vince McMahon was running the show. He would always make it where the characters or the wrestlers would do something and then he would change it like a month later and then the audience is just expected to roll with the punches even though we know that goes counter to what happened just a month ago. I remember the shit and it insults my intelligence when you start trying to rewrite it. It's like how Michael Cole was saying that, oh, I warned Rhea about Dom. No, you didn't. You were saying that Rhea was Dom's witchy girlfriend and manipulated Dom. So how does Rhea go from manipulating Dom to Cole saying that he warned Rhea about Dom? You see what I mean? So that history that pissed me off first of all. And then Rhea just comes across as a really whiny, entitled bitch. I just have to say it. She just comes across as whiny. She comes across entitled, and she's just coming off bitchy. She's kind of about, oh, everybody's just jealous of me. Everything is Raquel's fault. No, taking no accountability whatsoever. At least Roman Reigns took some accountability. He didn't say I'm sorry to Jay and Jimmy like he should have, but Roman at least took some accountability for the shit he did as tribal chief during his long ass title run. We don't even get that with Rhea. Everything is somebody else's fault with Rhea. It's always Rhea's fault. It was always Dom's fault. It's Liv's fault. It's never her own. And then she's saying, "Oh, everybody's just jealous of me." She just sounds like a heel. This is this bullshit we keep talking about with Rhea's character. It doesn't change. I saw some people putting up like character development for certain wrestlers to segue a little bit off of this and just to prove my point. And they were showing like the progression of certain wrestlers over the years. I saw Naomi. She was like a funkadactyl, and then she turned heel, and then she had the Team Bad Naomi, and then she had Glow Naomi, and then Glow Naomi Revisited when she came back to WWE. So that was like a different character as well. And then now she has the Proceed with Caution Naomi. That's like that's 5 different types of character evolutions in about 10, 10 or 11 years. So she's changed characters at least 5 times already. And it's a steady progression of growth. Yeah, she probably stayed in that low period a little too long, but it shows she has a nice progression and range of her character. Dom. First he was the good boy with Ray, and then he was the first judgment. He was Judgment Day, and then he went to Prison Dom, and then he went into Dirty Dom, and then he went into Daddy Dom. That's 5 different characters, and this is over a period of time of like again like 4 or 5 years for him. So he's kind of like changed almost. I want to say almost every year ish, kind of maybe. But he has a significant path of growth. Like Daddy Dom now is completely different than the Dom that came in wrestling with his dad going up against Seth Rollins. Those are 2 completely different Doms, and I'm pretty sure that if you put the Dom that fought up against Seth Rollins in the same room with the Dom we have now, they wouldn't like each other. You see that growth. With Rhea, she's pretty much acting like a heel, but since people are gooners and will cheer her, she's dressed as a face and it doesn't match. And then we get this all this weird shit where she's just presenting where she's just saying all this shit where the promo doesn't make sense. Like somebody needs to either rope Rhea into like what they want for her promo, or they just need to script it out because You can't keep cutting these like heelish type promos. Even Damien doesn't do that. Like Damien, even though he's annoying me and I don't like to see him getting into Outstar Black Space from SmackDown, but you don't see Damien cut like a heel type promo when they're trying to push him as a face right now. He's falling and flailing hard right now, but do you get like a heel type promo from Damien right now? No. Now he was attacking Drew when it didn't make no sense, and that kind of made him like look heelish. But when he's trying to do like a promo, he's not sounding heel. Rhea was sounding heel. Like, how are you gonna say that somebody is jealous of you? How are you gonna say that somebody is they're jealous of you and then they're wrong? That that's not a face. And she was talking about how people don't want her to, she said don't want her to be the champion. And she's like, why would I not want to have the title? I'm like, Rhea, darling, you wanting the title is fine. I would expect everybody to want the title. However, it's completely different for you to be booked to be in the title picture all the damn time. That's the difference. The wrestler wanting the title is fine. I expect that. Everybody wants a title. But the problem comes in with Rhea is that she's always in the title scene. She's always around the title. She never takes a break from the title. And then the title is being constantly referred to as hers. And she constantly gets the rematch. It's like rematch. And the same thing that's happening to Io Sky now is what happened with Liv Morgan last year. They just sit. Io Sky currently right now is just sitting there holding the belt and keeping it warm for whenever Rhea gets it. Io Sky was probably going to have a match with Liv, but I don't think Liv would have won the title. She would have been a stopgap for Io to give her a defense, and then they would have moved Io back into a program of Rhea because the WWE doesn't want Rhea to be called Rhea Hogan. Pretty much, point blank. The WWE got scared that people were going to call her Rhea Hogan because when Bianca was in there, even though Bianca was getting booed, she had points on Rhea, and they saw the upswell starting to happen with Rhea, and they pulled Rhea back from not winning just so they could try to cool off fan perception on the internet. Even though they don't pay attention to the internet, they pay attention to the internet. So internet perception is swelling against Rhea, so they pulled her back. Now we know she's going to get the title. She's either going to get it in Perth on her birthday, or she's going to go into Perth on her birthday as champ. We know. We know she's going to get that title. If she's not going to get that title, then there's no reason for Io just to be sitting there with no title defenses since WrestleMania. Like, what's the point of Io having a title if she can't have a title defense? And then she's just restricted to like 10 and 20, 30-second promo packages or appearances on Raw. We know she's going to get it. And that leads me to the other thing, like, why are y'all calling this title Rhea's title? That is just straight up offensive and a smack in the face to Io Sky. That is not her title. Io Sky is the current champion. You pretty much spoiling it that Rhea just, that it's just her title. Do you see anybody else refer to the other title belt as their title? Like, nobody is going around saying like the WWE women's title is Tiffany's. Charlotte isn't even referring to that belt as hers. Charlotte Flair, the one that we get title fatigue about. Charlotte doesn't even refer to that title as hers. Nobody refers to that belt on SmackDown as their title, but they'll do that for Raw. You see why? I was so pissed off with Rhea here? It's the whole pre-show promo was ass. She came off, like I said, she just came off as a whiny entitled bitch. There's no other way of putting it, and I can't sugarcoat it. You ran down Raquel, you ran down Io, you pretty much insulted Io, and then you're running down fans who are fatigued of your ass always being in the title picture. And for some people and for them to be saying that, well, I don't pay attention to the internet. Why is your chronically online ass talking about this on TV? Think about it, y'all. Why are you talking about what fan thinks in this promo? Because if all y'all cared about was the arena reaction and fans in the arena's reaction, why do y'all give a fuck about what the internet is saying right now? You see what I mean? So Rhea, why is your chronically online ass worried about what other people think? You need to get off the internet. People are allowed to not want your ass near the title all the time. I said she needs side quests. A lot of side quests. I say 50 side quests at this point. But take some side quests. There's no reason for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns had to take all these side quests just to get back to the title. Cody is just now getting back to where he gets a title opportunity because he won King of the Ring. But it was a good chunk of Cody Rhodes not being around the title, and he took time off. So it's not like you kept seeing him without the title, and he was talking about the title. And even when he came back, he wasn't just strictly talking about the title. He was just talking about getting his lick back with John Cena, and then he could start talking. He started talking about the title. With Rhea, it's just title, title, title. It's my title. It's my title. This is why her character fails. There's no growth. Everybody else is growing right now. I mean, Lyra Valkyria, who was kind of bland, is now evolving into a nice character. But she's showing growth. Becky Lynch has a whole bunch of growth. I go back and forth on Becky on my opinion on her, but I can't deny that she's gone through a lot of growth throughout her career. Even somebody like Nia Jackson's gone through some growth through her career. She's always been mostly a heel, but she's had some growth. A lot of these women have gone through some growth, but Rhea just stays the same. And another thing that pissed me off is that Raquel didn't even get like a pre-show interview, like a backstage interview. Like Rhea got this interview, but Raquel couldn't. Like, how come Raquel couldn't get like a little bit of an interview? All we saw with Raquel was just her walking in the arena, like the entry things. Like, how come Raquel couldn't get an entry? Like, why couldn't Raquel get an interview, a little interview to set herself up? Why couldn't she get an interview to defend herself about what Rhea was saying? It's that stuff that really sets Raquel up to fail. Because she could at least had a little interview to fire back, talking about like, "Hey, you said this was water under the bridge, but you attacked me." See, this is just a way of preventing that other parts of the history between Raquel and Rhea to come up, because it wouldn't show Rhea in the right all the time. But Raquel couldn't even get that. But anywho, I had to say all that because, like I said, the pre-show pissed me off. Then we get into the Rhea versus Raquel match, street fight. At first, the street fight was really going really good. It was hard hitting. Raquel was able to look strong. For the time, at least for the front part, she was doing some gnarly spots on Rhea, like how Raquel like pretty much did a power bomb through that announce table like signage into the timekeepers area. Like they were doing all that. Raquel had Rhea tied up in the ropes and was hitting her with the kendo stick. Like there were some really good spots there. And of course, Rhea starts roaring back. But then this is where everything starts getting fucked up. Rhea was rallying and got Raquel into the prison trap, and then here comes Roxanne to save her. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, now Roxanne and Raquel could kind of start working together to take down Rhea. Now, I still thought Rhea was going to win, but at least we're going to show some cohesion where it would make sense for Roxanne to be out there, and maybe they get to a point where it's cool, and then maybe something happens, maybe a miscommunication or something like that, and then Rhea wins. I was thinking that. No, we didn't get that, because pretty much like how Rhea and Damien 1v5 or 2v5 Judgment Day last year, Rhea's over here 1v2ing Raquel and Roxanne. Roxanne barely got any kind of offense in on Rhea. And then what extremely pisses me off yet again is that poor Roxanne gets put into a trash can, and then Rhea kicks the trash can, and then Roxanne is out of the match completely. She did not return to that match to help Raquel or anything like that. So Roxanne gets placed literally in the trash and kicked and is knocked out of the match. What kind of fucking bullshit is that? How are you treating your upstart, one of your longest reigning champions from NXT when she's up on the main roster now, and then she gets just taken out with a trash can and a kick? Like, you could have at least made it where Roxanne was doing more and then she got taken out. No, she pretty much got taken out immediately. And then after that, Rhea does that super riptide off of that table, pins Raquel, 1, 2, 3. I was like, and as I posted on the X, like, I called it and I knew it, but I don't like it. Raquel should have won the match. Period. Point blank. Raquel winning this match would have set up everything for the current Judgment Day storyline that they had laid out. First, Raquel could have gotten a big win under her belt that she needed. 2, it would have established her to separate from Liv. 3, if Roxanne helped her out, Roxanne would have proven herself to Raquel, and then we would have saw Roxanne get the belt. But no, everything's all up in the air, all because Rhea had to win. I just can't with this. Like I said, this was the easiest layup. Just give Raquel the fucking win. And I don't want to hear, well, Rhea's your biggest star. Yeah, well, if she's the biggest star, she can take a loss. And it might make her character a little bit more interesting if she did lose. Like, have her go on a rampage, let her go sulk somewhere. Maybe have her reflect on her life choices after this loss. Maybe she can start reflecting on how poorly she treated Liv, since people want to bring back Liv for brutality. Maybe she starts thinking about how poorly she treated Liv. Maybe she starts thinking about how poorly she treated Dom. Something. Maybe that could have gave her some character growth with the loss. But no. As we see in the post-show interview, it was just for her to get back on the horse. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, Raquel was finally showing her strength and getting that momentum against Rhea. But now Rhea just pretty much took her down simplistically. I don't really care about that super riptide. That's still simplistic. What are you doing to Raquel? That's somebody you could set up as a possible person for a title defense. But we don't get that. They made Roxanne a non-factor. Like I said, why would you treat your upstart from NXT as a non-factor? A trash can and a simplistic kick? And why put Roxanne in the trash? Yeah, I know we have the jokes about street trash and all that, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But still, like, what message are we sending here about Roxanne? And by Rhea winning, the feud is basically over. So what's the point of Rhea, like, maybe challenging for a tag title opportunity with maybe Nikki Bella? Why would Rhea do that? Like I said, this match could have set up so much stuff for Judgment Day, and none of it came about. None of it. The roads are up in the air. I'm gonna tell you what I feel what could happen, but like I said, from this everything's up in the air, and for no fucking reason other than to give Rhea her momentum back. Post show, Rhea says that she's back on track and winning, and then Rhea's talking about Raquel. She's pretty much saying like she doesn't care about Raquel, and it's like, again, here's this heel thing. Like, usually somebody will talk up their opponents like a little bit, like Raquel gave it to me hard, like as a face. She didn't even do that. And I really hate how Rhea talks about Raquel here. Like, the woman gave you a win, set you back on. You used Raquel to get you back on a winning path when you could have probably faced damn near anybody else to give you that win. And then here you come talking about Raquel again. The ego is out of the room. And like I said, there's no reason now for Roxanne to get the tag title. Why would Roxanne get the tag title? Now you can still go forward with the storyline of, maybe Raquel feels sorry for her, or Raquel is forced to because Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are coming for her and want to strip her. But still, it makes they had the opportunity to use Roxanne helping Raquel to make that transition easier. Now, if you do something like forcing Raquel to give it to Roxanne, then I mean, there's still animosity there, and it still doesn't make sense to what the storyline is going. And then I guess if she has the tag title match defense and wins, then maybe Raquel can still be warming up to her. But still, at least when after Naomi took out Jade and Naomi wanted to step in for Jade and help Bianca out, Naomi earned her title with the match. So at least there was a little bit going that for Naomi. You're not even doing that for Roxanne. And then with this, Rhea just and then for the match, Rhea just 1v2s people. And why couldn't Rhea get like an assist to help her out a little bit? See, this is where if they wanted to run Rhea having a friend like in Tiffany Stratton, why couldn't they have like Tiffany Stratton come out and fend off Roxanne or something like that? Show that little bit of friendship they always want to post on the internet regarding that. If Tiffany wants to talk about Rhea wearing pink all the damn time, why can you do that? At least make it a little bit even so it's not like Rhea's just overcoming odds that she didn't need to have. And that's another thing that pisses me off. It's like, why do you always have to show Rhea overcoming so many people? She doesn't need it. You done built her up so damn much. She doesn't need to start 1v3ing, 1v2ing a whole group of people. And like I said, what's the Judgment Day storyline going to be now? Is everybody going to be pissed in the clubhouse? Is everybody going to be um is people going to be mad that Dom isn't there, or Dom didn't help, or is Finn going to be pissed? Like, what's the storyline now? Finn was trying to rally the troops on Monday. So what? Now we're going to come back on Monday Night Raw and everybody's just gonna be down because they lost, and then Finn is just gonna be like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go for the tag team titles now with JD." Like, what do you do? What do they do? They had the storyline. Now it's gone. But yeah, and that was Night of Champions. So, like I say, to wrap things up, the whole Judgment Day storyline is FUBAR just because of one match decision and how they booked Rhea Ripley's and Raquel's match during this whole thing. It's all up in the air. So now, what does Judgment Day do? I don't know. I can only tell you what I think it can go and what I would prefer would go. But there's some things that I peeped that we might be getting something a little bit. We might be getting going back to what I originally thought, and that is Dom being the leader of Judgment Day. Because I think it was going to be Dom and Liv going out on their own, and that's fine, and I still want that. However, due to Liv's injury, they might wanted to pivot off of that and then just postpone that a little bit. They'll still like be off on their own, Dom, Liv, Damani, and Clyde, but I think they're going to do something else. Now, walk with me a little bit here. Um, if Raquel had won with Roxanne's help, that would have shored up Finn's position in the Judgment Day as this de facto leader. Like, because he was the one rallying the troops this past Monday Night Raw. So, if Raquel had won, that shores up his position. But since Raquel lost, his position is shaky. Because, for one, he can't really blame Dom. Because Dom can just say, hey, I'm injured. I couldn't travel. So, and then JD, you could at least say with JD, well, JD could be there, but we can't interfere. So, Finn is kind of in a pickle because of the failures of Roxanne, who is the person he's trying to bring into Judgment Day, failing to help failing to help Raquel. And then we had the nice little bit on the X of Roxanne saying that she would do anything for the Judgment Day. Now, notice word choice here. And what have I always said on this channel? Word choice matters. Word choice matters a lot. It's a difference. Word choice means the difference between several months and 7 months. So now, Roxanne says she will do anything for the Judgment Day. Let's break this down, shall we? Finn is a part of Judgment Day, and we've seen her working with Finn. Okay, cool. But who else is a part of Judgment Day? Judgment Day is Dom. Judgment Day is Liv. Judgment Day is JD, and Judgment Day is Raquel. If Roxanne is doing everything for the Judgment Day, it means she's doing it for everyone in the Judgment Day. So that means it's not just Finn. Because it would be real simple for Roxanne to say, I was out there because, I would do anything for Raquel because Finn, she could have spun it like I would do anything for Raquel. I would do anything to help out Finn, help out Raquel, things like that. But she mentions Judgment Day. Judgment Day is the group. Dom has not been kicked from Judgment Day. Nobody has been kicked from Judgment Day. So I got to thinking, what if we're back in the original plot line of what I was thinking, that Roxanne is the mole for Dom and Liv? Like, she was already approached by Dom and Liv to be like a little like secret agent on their behalf to get at Finn. And now I'm thinking again with Dom and Liv, because what if Roxanne is being used, or not really being used, or she's helping out? Like, Roxanne is not being used in the negative sense. I'm just saying, like, Dom and Liv are using her in this capacity. Like, what if Roxanne is now in Judgment Day or around Judgment Day to expose what Finn has been doing to them, to JD and Raquel? Now, why would I say that Roxanne is exposing Finn here? Because she drags out everything. She's gonna drag out everything that Finn does. Because remember, until Roxanne popped up, Cole never said that Finn was sowing dissent in Judgment Day. We had months and months and months of Finn being negging everybody. But as soon as Roxanne shows up, everything starts getting pulled out into the light. So what if Roxanne is being used to show, like, fully show JD and Roxanne, and I mean Raquel, that what Finn is doing? And when that happens, maybe that makes it easier for Dom to make a play and become leader of Judgment Day. Now, do I want Dom as leader of Judgment Day right now? Not particularly. But what are we going to do here with the storyline? I mean, yeah, you could, if Raquel had won, you could go with the thought of, okay, yeah, Dom's going to get kicked out because Finn has gotten all this goodwill to his side. But Raquel lost. What would be the point of Raquel turning on Dom now if she lost? Now, you could probably spin it, maybe Dom should, like I said, you could probably spin it that Dom should have been there, but what could he have done? Yeah, he did help out Liv, but that was Liv. And that was operating under a completely different, completely different plan there. But here, Finn has no leverage. So, how about this? Monday Night Raw, we have the tag team title match with JD and Finn going up against the New Day. depending on where this match falls, if it is main event, I think some shit is going down. So what if come Monday Night Raw, we're in the clubhouse and Finn is just being a demented demon. Like he's pissed off. He's barking at everybody. He's barking at Raquel for losing. He's barking at Roxanne for not helping out like she should. He's even barking at JD. If Dom is there, now they say Dom might have probably has a legit injury, but he's not going to be away for long. But I'm not sure if Dom's going to be there on Monday. He might. Like he still might be traveling or something like that. So maybe they just gave him his time off for Night of Champions and he'll be there on Monday. So this is also dependent on if Dom is there on Monday. So Finn is just barking at everybody because all of his plans are unraveling. You know, nobody won like they should have. Dom is still the champ. Roxanne is not working like he thought she would. You know, all that yada yada yada. So he's just pissed off, and then even JD is like, dude, chill, and he goes off in a huff. And then maybe here we have Dom being quiet about it and just observing, and then you see him maybe after like Finn storms off, like Dom kind of rallies the troops a little bit. He's like, hey, you did this, um, you did your best, things like that. Kind of being the opposite of what Finn is doing here. Maybe he does something like that. Then the tag team title match. Even with Raquel and Roxanne's help, maybe JD and Finn lose because I really don't think they're going to get that title. I think Grayson Waller is going to be helping New Day because Grayson Waller has been around New Day. If you've been noticing the backstage segments there, like I think he helps them out, and then JD and Finn lose, and then Finn is even more pissed off about it. Maybe Dom was out there, he didn't help. Or maybe Dom, Raquel, and Roxanne were out there, but they didn't help because Finn was just being a whiny little bitch. And, he's squawking. And maybe this is where Dom plays his hand and goes like, hey, I know what you were doing, and due to Roxanne, you just pretty much exposed yourself. Like have it be like Roxanne had be that mole for Dom, and this is when Finn gets kicked, and he gets kicked hard. Like he gets the headbutt from JD because pretty much Finn's exposed himself. Everybody is after Finn, and then we finally get that Finn concerto from Dom to Finn, and Finn is pretty much casted out of Judgment Day because he exposed himself, and Dom is showing his smarts by having Roxanne in there, and then like if you want to do like an extreme callback, you can have like Roxanne, hand Dom the chair, or Dom hand Roxanne the chair to do some damage on Finn because it's that whole initiation thing, and that just pretty much proves her worth in Judgment Day, and that ties off Finn. Like Finn is out and out of Judgment Day because that's how the natural order of Finn should have went in the first place. Finn should have been the next to go. Like it doesn't make sense for Finn to still be in Judgment Day when everybody else got casted out. So that happens, and then if you want to tie in AJ and Dom, you can have AJ run out to save Finn from Dom, and then you get that match kind of set up for whichever day, like either Saturday Night Main Event or SummerSlam. Excuse me. And then, so there we go with that. Dom becomes leader of Judgment Day. Roxanne was the mole. She exposed Finn, and everything's out. And then, you could have Dom be talking with Liv like on the phone or something like that, talking about what's all been going on, whatever. So that's my little theory there. Like I said, that's what kind of what I would do to salvage this whole fucking mess, because like I said, they've wasted so many months of the Judgment Day storyline, and it's still a mess. Everything's a mess. The commentary is a mess. It's just a mess. And then, like I said here, like they had the easy layup with Rhea, and they failed to do what they needed to do Because like I said, right now, why would Raquel want to give the belt to Roxanne right now? I mean, it's not like Roxanne helped Roxanne Roxanne helped out Raquel helped out Roxanne at one time then, and that's when we thought it was going to be like a shift, but then it didn't happen. So maybe this is one way they can kind of delay the Dom, Liv, Bonnie and Clyde thing for a little bit until they're ready for Dom and Liv to go on their own. Maybe something like that happens. But that's just my thoughts on that. We'll find out what happens what comes Raw. I haven't seen anything else for match card wise for Monday Night Raw, but I'm gonna assume that the tag team title match is the main event because everything else I don't see how they can say like Seth Rollins stuff for like the main event. Like all we're gonna do is just gonna have him yapping, and CM Punk's gonna be yapping, and then Sami Zayn is gonna be yapping, and Penta might be yapping, and then it's like that should be like the first part of the show. So it is, and maybe they'll set up some things for Evolution. But like I said, they can probably salvage this just by just going and pulling the trigger on Finn, get him out, and going on. Because like I said, right now it would make no sense for Judgment Day to kick out Dom when everything, nothing has gone Finn's way. He got a little bit, but nothing's going in Finn's way right now.